Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
It is a good morning. We're smiling, having a good morning so far. Okay, let's see if we can get through this whole board session the same way. It is our weekly Marion County Board of Commissioners meeting Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. I almost said 14. Wow. And it's 9 a.m. We're here in the Commissioners Boardroom. And as always, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you will join us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Anybody else have to take a canoe to get in this morning?
No canoes, but I did have to drive my son's truck in, which I'm happy to accommodate as a mom, but he works.
A little bit different?
He works in construction, so the entire inside of it is covered in dirt. And so I'm like, I'm like mad when I came in.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's okay. Nobody can see what I wore this morning either, because I'm
Well, I am ready for the day, even the rain.
Fantastic. Well, that concludes our public comment for the day. We have nobody signed up for public comment. So we will go right into the consent calendar, Commissioner, if you will make a motion for that.
I'd be happy to. I move to approve the consent calendar under Board of Commissioners, the Board of Committee Appointment, Budget Committee. Approve an order appointing Dave Kenny to the Marion County Budget Committee with a term ending June 30th, 2027. And under Human Resources, approve the recommendation to update the classification, adjust the pay grade upward for Class Code 206, Assistant Director of Juvenile Department, and retitle to Juvenile Deputy Director. Update the classification, adjust the pay grade upward for Class Code 227, Assistant Juvenile Supervisor, and retitle to Juvenile Assistant Program Supervisor. Update the classification, update the pay grade for Class Code 225, Juvenile Detention Supervisor, and retitle to Juvenile Detention Manager, and update the classification and uphold the pay grade for Class Code 230, Juvenile Program Supervisor. And under Tax Office, approve an order for a property tax refund in the amount of $23,233.63 for Jean R. Oster, tax account 516760.
And I'll second your motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Our first item today is action item is under the Board of Commissioners. Consider approval amendment number 1 to 2 memorandums of understanding MOUs with the Marion County Public Works to reallocate American Rescue Plan dollars funding for the following 2 projects through to December 31st, 2026. And I'll let Brian give us the details. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm Brian Nicholas, Marion County Public Works Director. In early 2023, the board awarded county ARPA funds to 2 projects in the Brooks community area for the Brooks Community Service District. One of them was sort of phase 1 improvements to the Brooks sewer system. The other one was phase 1 construction of a new water supply system for the district. We've completed master planning for both, and came to the realization a few months ago that that we would get more bang for our buck if we were to move some of the funding from the sewer project into the water project, so that we could build a phase 1 campus, a complete water campus for the Brooks Water Service, and that's what these amendments would do. We are still doing some improvements to the existing sewer treatment system, but there's a bigger need on the water side to get that to a point where it's a self-sustaining water campus system. So this would amend both of those funding agreements, taking $4.5 million from the sewer project and adding it to the funding agreement for the Brooks Water project. And both of the projects are on track for completion by the end of 2026.
Great. Any questions?
Nope.
Yeah, just thank you, Brian, for you and many people, your staff's hard work on all these ARPA projects. This is just 1 or 2 of many that are going on that we know are really important to get completed for the people in Marion County. So thank you for all your hard work and setting this priority. So if no other discussion, I'll take a motion.
I move to approve amendment number 1 to 2 memorandums of understanding with Marion County Public Works to reallocate American Rescue Plan Act funding for the following 2 projects through December 31st, 2026. Decrease funding in the amount of $4,500,000 for the Brooks Community Service District Wastewater System Improvement Project for a new MOU total of $500,000. And increase funding in the amount of $4,500,000 for the Brooks Community Service District Drinking Water System Improvement Project for a new MOU total of $14,348,000.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. I'm gonna ask for unanimous consent that we'll just jump to the Public Works on the agenda, Brian, since you're up there.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so our next item is to consider approval of contract for services with Coastal Forest Products, DBA Highway Fuel, not to exceed, oh, I guess it isn't you. It's Andrew. I was trying to get Brian out of here.
Well, it does say Brian on there, so.
The next one does. Okay. Coastal Products Highway Fuel Company in not to exceed $350,000 for the acceptance of yard debris materials collected from the Salem Kaiser Recycling Transfer Station and the North Marion Recycling Transfer Station through October 31st, 2027. Andrew.
It's musical chairs this
Yeah,
morning.
so I guess I was trying to help Brian out here this morning, but
Sorry, sorry, Terry and Wesley for cutting in front of you. So yeah, good morning, Commissioners. We're here to get approval on a contract with Coastal Forest Products, doing business as Highway Fuel. Both of our transfer stations, the North Marion and the Salem Kaiser Transfer Station, the yard debris that we collect there from the public then goes to the Browns Island Compost Facility. During the winter months, times like this with high water and everything, it can become problematic to access that facility. And earlier this year, we had a catastrophic failure of our access road and didn't have access to that facility for 6 months. We struggled then to find a place to haul the yard debris from our 2 transfer stations. So we started this process to get a contract in place. There was a long-term backup plan for when Browns Island isn't accessible, that we could haul the yard debris from those transfer stations and have some place for it to go.
all right. Questions? No?
No.
All right. I'll take a motion.
All right. I'm gonna move to approve the contract for services with Coastal Forest Products, DBA Highway Fuel Company, and the not to exceed amount of $350,000 for the acceptance of yard debris materials collected from the Salem Kaiser Recycling and Transportation. I lost where I was at.
Oh, we got all kinds of
Recycling and
things
Transfer
going.
Station, I know, and the North Marion Recycling and Transfer Station through October 31st, 2027. Nothing like a distraction. I got through it, sir.
Is it Halloween or
What is happening? And it's like, are we being punked? Is it April 1st?
Yeah. All right. I heard your motion and I will second your motion.
Great.
Any further discussion on the motion of the screen or this?
Or anything else?
All right.
Nope,
Hearing
good.
none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Brian's going to come back now. We'll get that taken care of. Consider approval of amendment number 1 for contract for services with Tate North America to add $12,346,144 to the American Rescue Plan Act funds for a new total of $12,506,276 to provide design, supply, installation, commissioning, and technical support for the Marion County Public Safety Radio Communications System Project through June 30th, 2026.
Do you have a presentation? Is that what's happening,
I do.
Brian?
That's what all this crazy is.
Okay, so they just aren't working or what? Okay. Here we go. It's totally fine. I mean, you know, whatever.
We're still laughing.
I know, yeah, it is what it is. Technology.
Well, now I'm on business services list, right? Because I skipped them.
Yeah, that's why Tammy walked up here and was like, you know what, we're gonna throw this thing for a roller coaster and see what happens. Does it turn on up here or back there with the gentleman?
I heard it fire up. I think you have to wait for the.
Yeah.
There we go. We're getting somewhere.
This is worth waiting for. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's a big contract.
Well, Wes and Terry wanted to see this presentation anyway. so-
Brenda.
Right.
What if Commissioner Cameron, while she's working on that, we just go back up to business services? Because Brenda's got to call IT.
Oh, okay. So we will hold off on this number 7 action item until we get the technical things fixed, and we will come back to business services to consider an approval of, make sure I didn't skip one over here, yeah. Consider approval of public improvement agreement with Garland DBS Inc. in the amount of $194,806 for the removal of skylights and a roof replacement at Marion County Public Works Building number 13 through June 30th, 2025. Still has to do with Public Works.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, everything's Public Works today. Thank you, gentlemen. Sorry for my delay.
No worries. Good morning. Terry Stoner, Facilities Manager.
Wesley Miller, Construction Project Coordinator.
Today, we have an approved capital improvement project to replace the roof on Building 13 at Public Works Campus, Silverton Road. The skylights in that roof have been leaking off and on for quite a while, so it's time to replace the roof and discard the skylights. We are here to ask for approval for the agreement with Garland to move forward.
So this is just an approval for the skylights, removal of the skylights, and replace the roof?
Replace
Only
the roof.
$194,000 doesn't seem like it's enough money.
Go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, so it's actually replaced the whole roof system and the skylights. So the skylights were put into that, it's a Butler system roof, a certain one, and I went up there and it doesn't look like it had the right detail and the proper curves when it was installed. So what we're gonna do is demo the entire roof and come in with a new expanded structural panel, and then we will have 0 skylights in there. We'll replace any insulation, which minimal is damaged, and then we'll have a 30-year warranty on that roof.
Okay.
Is there new lighting going in, Wes?
It won't need any
Okay,
lighting
has
in there.
enough lighting.
Yeah, one side is where some trucks park and very little activity, and then the other side's lit up pretty good already, which is the parks and some archive stuff.
I remember this during management update. I think you presented this, and I thought the skylights was in the main building.
Oh, that's
what I
right.
thought it
Yeah.
was.
That's what I think, I thought it is too.
No, this
It's
is
not
building
that.
13, which is
Oh.
Yeah, it has the sweeper
it's a shop.
trucks.
It's one of the shop
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
buildings. Yeah.
yeah,
I was
The
thinking
sweeper?
where,
Has the sweeper
I
in it?
think it's the sweeper trucks.
Oh, I heard that Salem has an electric sweeper now.
Good for them.
yeah, let's not talk about them.
They're naming it. It was on the news today. Name the sweeper.
Yeah, that was on Facebook a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Sorry.
That's it. Any questions?
All right.
No, now that I understand that it's not the main building, I
That's-
have less questions than I did.
That's why it's not as much as you
Right.
thought it was. Yeah. All right.
Okay, well, I move to approve the public improvement agreement with Garland DBS in the amount of $194,806 for the removal of skylights and a roof replacement at the Marion County Public Works Building 13 through June 30th, 2025.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Terry.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the projects you gentlemen are working on. Okay, now we'll return back to item number 7. The amendment number 1 for contractor services with Tate North America. And thanks IT, wherever they are, for getting us
He
set up.
disappeared already.
Is that John?
Yeah.
Morning again, Brian Nicholas, Marion County Public Works Director. This morning I'll be talking about the Marion County radio project and an amendment to our existing contract with Tate North America. So I'll provide a sort of a summary of the project and some of the background information, and then talk about what's included in this amendment number. You know, actually, I think this is amendment number 1, not amendment number 2. I think I have a typo here. We have the original contract and we are amending it for the first time here. So, Marion County operates a couple of different radio networks. The county has a 2-channel VHF radio system, and that is used by the Sheriff's Office. Public Works also has a 1-channel UHF system that we just use for our day-to-day operations. And those 2 radio systems combined, they occupy 14 different broadcast and receive sites around the county. Those sites that you see there, the 7 send and receive sites, that's related to the Sheriff's VHF radio system. And there's 7 receive-only sites to kind of fill in some coverage gaps that were present when that radio system was first deployed. And then Public Works, we just have 2 antennas. Our radio coverage needs in the past have been pretty rudimentary compared to what sheriff's deputies need. So that's what exists today, and this shows you all the sites where we have radio equipment in those 2 systems. And what we are proposing to do is to migrate to a P25 5-channel 7,800 megahertz trunked radio system. And the significance of this is by being a trunked radio system, you get 2 things: a huge increase in capacity compared to the conventional systems that we currently use. So we have a 2-channel system that doesn't quite meet the sheriff's needs today. That 5-channel system will actually have, just by adding those 3 channels and trunking it, will have the capacity to serve all the first responder agencies in the county if they want to use this system. And we'll maintain one of those VHF channels as a technical, as a TAC channel. And we would still, under this proposed system, we'd still occupy 14 radio sites, but you can see from the 2 images that we will be planning to move away from some radio sites and onto new radio sites. And you might be able to tell just from the difference in those 2 images that what we're looking to do is spread out our coverage more evenly around the county to help coverage issues that are, eliminate some coverage issues that are present with the existing system. So this is a pretty large step in the evolution of public safety radio in Marion County. There are lots of prospective users. This list shows just 19 of those prospective user agencies. A large number of these are members of Metcom 911, but there's others there, including the Public Works Department and other departments within the county. So this new radio system has the ability to just create a whole new sea change in how public safety radio communications happens in the county. By and large, these systems organizations have radio coverage today, but it's really in a cooperatively built system of small VHF radio systems that are all kind of stitched together with a data network. And so this would be, like I said, would be moving to a consolidated system that these agencies could then opt into receiving service from the county. All right. So we'll talk a little bit about the project timeline, where we've been and what's ahead on this project, and then we'll get into some of the numbers. In February of 2022, the board awarded ARPA funding. That was the initial seed funding to get this project going. We're using ARPA funds, so we needed to do a competitive procurement process. So it took a while to develop those procurement documents. We developed a technical spec of what the ultimate radio vendor would need to provide to us. So that took some time. We also engaged almost all of those prospective user agencies during that course of time between February 2022 and October 2023 to learn what their needs were, make sure that we craft a system that really could meet everybody's needs, right? We issued the request for proposals in October 2023. In March 2024, we opened those proposals and began the proposal review process. in June 2024, we received a total of 5 proposals. Not all of them were, were proposing to provide all of the services that we needed, that we need to deliver this project. 2 companies did provide proposals that would provide all of the services needed. One was Tate North America, proposing to provide a Tate radio system. And then the other one was Raycom, and proposing to provide a Harris manufactured radio system. So during that 3 months, we went through the proposal review process, scored proposals, interviewed each of the proposers, and ultimately made the selection of Tate as the preferred vendor. All right, that was in June of this year. In August of this year, we went ahead and the board executed a fast start, what I'm calling a fast start contract with Tate, because the existing sheriff's radio system needs we need to replace some equipment in the existing sheriff's radio system to prepare it for transition to a new radio system. Plus, we're going to keep that VHF system around to act as that TAC channel. So it made sense to go ahead and do a fast start contract with Tate while we worked out all the pricing and finished detailing out the scope of services that they would be providing to us. So in August 2024, the board approved a contract for Tate to make those equipment replacements on the VHF system. That contract value was about $160,000. And then today, we are here with Tate Amendment number 1. This isn't Amendment 2, it's Amendment number 1, sorry for the typo. And we'll talk a little bit more about what's included in that amendment here in just a minute. Moving ahead. So when this contract is executed, it will obligate Tate to design the systems, provide all the equipment for the systems, and complete factory testing for acceptance by July 2025, July of next year. Once the radio system is assembled in the shop and fully tested, and the county has accepted those tests, then it will be ready for deployment out to the radio sites. The contract gives Tate until about February of 2026 to complete the system deployment and then optimization of the system in the field. And then all of that will put us on schedule to complete migration off of the existing VHF and UHF systems onto the new system by October 2026. So that is the timeline. Right, so what's included in this amendment? Well, first, Tate will provide a 5-channel, 7800 megahertz P25 trunked LMR radio system. That's the heart of what it is that we are buying. These types of systems also need to have a data network underlaying them or overlaying them, depending on your perspective, because all these sites need to speak to each other. Modern radio systems, they operate a lot like cell phones. You push the talk on your radio, and it connects you to the nearest tower or the tower with the strongest signal, and you're talking with that tower. Older systems like our current VHF system, it's a broadcast system, and you just flood the airwaves with the signal and your radio picks it up. So there's lots of potential for interference and that sort of thing. The second item that Tate will need to provide is that data backbone system, a backhaul system. So we're going with an Aviat digital IP backhaul data system. That's the system that Tate proposed in their proposal. Metcom 911, the new system will be P25. That's a public safety grade encryption protocol that law enforcement agencies use. Metcom's existing dispatch console system is not P25 compliant, so they need a replacement for that. This contract will have Tate provide that system. They proposed a Scout EX dispatch console system. So in the contract, there is provisions for Tate to install 9 new 911 dispatch console systems at Metcom's primary dispatch center in Woodburn. There is a backup center, 911 center in Staten, and that is the backup center for both WVCC, the City of Salem 911 dispatch center, as well as Metcom. The contract requires Tate to install 3 seats there. And then this will plug Public Works kind of into the dispatch system, at least for our operational side. We won't be calling deputies out for emergency service or anything like that. But we do need dispatching for our own dispatching services. So it includes 3 dispatch console seats at Public Works. These systems run off of DC power, so each of them each of these installations around the various sites, the 14 radio sites, plus some of the other ancillary sites like Public Works. There are DC power systems that they'll need to provide. That's in the contract. They're also providing native Tate TB9900 dual band radios. Under the contract, Tate will provide 557 mobile radios. Those are the radios that get installed in vehicles. That is enough to install radios, the requested number of radios, for each of those prospective user agencies that I showed on slide number 3.
Is that a quantity, 557, or
Yes.
like an identifier?
Yeah, that's the number of radios, 557 radios. The contract also includes 1,223 portable radios. Again, these are Tate radios. That is enough to supply with just maybe a buffer of about 30 extra radios to provide portable radios to all of those agencies and what they told us their radio needs would be.
What's the difference between a mobile radio and a portable radio?
Mobile radios are the ones installed in the vehicles. The portable ones are the
On their
ones that
body.
they wear.
Okay.
Yep, wear on their body. All right. And the contract obligates State to provide all the engineering, all the design, all the testing, installation, QC that it takes to design, get approval, acceptance from the county, and installation of all of these systems. And it includes 3 years factory support, which gives us a transition time so we understand what it takes to run and manage this thing and try to make sure that we keep we have a realistic perspective on what it's going to take to operate it, and we kind of keep those costs as low as possible after that 3-year period. So.
Brian, before you move on, so this won't be done until probably 2026, right?
Correct.
So are we going to get radios that are relevant to 2026? Technology changes every 6 months, and we're approving this contract today. So what's the guarantee in the contract that when we go online, they're ready right now, like as of that day technology?
That's a good question. TB9900, that is their brand new radio line. They just released less than a year ago. So it's their newest product line.
I don't know how often radios are updated. Like cell phones, like every year they're coming online with something new. So is there a guarantee in the contract that if between now and then they decide to upgrade some of their technology, we'll receive that technology?
No, there's not. But Tate doesn't typically issue new releases any sooner than about 6 to 8 years is when the next generation comes along. But there are lots of they're still selling their TB9400s. So these are the newest radios, but they won't be outdated. These radios will be usable. If the batteries last and they don't get broken, these radios will be operable on the system 15 years from now.
Okay. And then my other question is, what's this? Are we talking about like physical seats in the console system, like Metcom and Woodburn? Is it going to be like stations? Like what's a seat?
Yes, a seat is a workstation. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. All right, so what does all this cost? So here's a project summary of the whole project. When it comes to Tate North America and their contract as the radio vendor, again, sorry, it says Amendment 2. I guess I had Amendment 2 on my brain when I was putting this together. I apologize. We have the $160,000 original Fast Start contract. This amendment will add $12,346,000 to that contract for essentially a whole house delivery of the radio systems, and all the subscriber units needed to operate on those systems. And I do want to point out, we do have some of those prospective user agencies that either just recently bought radios. One of the advantages with Tate, one of the reasons why we selected Tate as the preferred vendor was more than any other vendor, they're open source when it comes to other radios operating on their system. So we do have a couple of fire districts that have purchased radios recently, and their radios will operate on the Tate system. So that was a big driver. Cost was also there as well. Tate was by far the lowest cost of all the proposers. But this would be, this is for everything that we're getting under this contract, this is really good pricing, but it's not the entire project. We do have some consulting services. We've had, I have a radio project manager helping me deliver. Plus, we need to design, of those 14 sites, the majority of them need some sort of site improvement to accommodate, to host the new radio system. The estimate for construction is about $4.5 million for the site improvements, and then I've got some consulting services already under contract to design and prepare bid documents for those. We'll be providing our own tower climbing services rather than relying on Tate North America. So when it comes to actually installing the antennas on the towers and sweeping the cables and doing all that work, we'll be doing that with the third-party tower climbing service. And then this budget includes about a 3% contingency, so $880,000 there. So the total project, when it's fully delivered, will be just about $20 million. And we have the vast majority of that already assembled. We have a little bit of gap funding that we're working on to deliver this at the tail end, but we're looking pretty good when it comes to funding on the overall project. So, but this contract action that we're contemplating today is just it's the $12.3 million amendment to the Tate North America contract. All right.
So, Brian, I'm just, maybe we've talked about the $8 million difference here, right? Between 12 and 20?
Yep.
Can you just fill in a little bit of where that's coming from, just to refresh my memory?
Yep. Like I said, the sites are going to need improvements at the radio sites. So that's about half of that difference is the construction costs for those site improvements. And then I need an engineer. I've had to have an engineer designing those.
Well, I understand those are the expenses, but where's the funding? Where's the?
Okay, yes. Yeah, we've aggregated a number of different funding sources. So Public Works will be operating on this, on the radio system, so road fund's contributing a proportional share for the number of radios that Public Works will be using. So we do have some road fund in there to make up some of that cost difference. Let's see, Rep.
It's not $8
Schrader.
million. I mean, I think you gave us a spreadsheet, like one of the last conversations we had, that broke down the difference of funding sources.
Yep.
I know we talked about it, and I don't also remember it.
So I was trying to remember.
Yeah, we do have a Excel spreadsheet that
Yeah.
Brian
Yep.
gave us.
Yeah,
and we
these
talked
numbers in a little more detail.
Okay.
to get today.
Yep.
But here, right, there is more detail, because I don't remember the 4.5 million for civil site improvement. What's paying for that? How are we paying for that?
Yeah. Well, let's see. We've got we've aggregated a number of different funding sources. Like I said, we have the original $9 million in ARPA funding. Road Fund has about a $2 million proportional share, so that's in our funding as well. Rep. Schrader, when he was in office, obtained $1.2 million in congressionally directed spending to help with the cost of the project. So that is that's in our budget. Senator Girard last year was able to secure another $950,000 in ARPA funding to contribute to the project. And then there's a couple of other sources, prospective agencies that might join onto the system. With the expectation is they'll bring some.
Okay, that's right, because, so this 12 million is the ARPA money that we've allocated through our ARPA, and then we have all those other resources, okay.
Yep.
All right.
It's a big project.
It's huge. Yeah.
I think this is the biggest one we've done.
It's,
since I've
it's
been-
probably one of the most important things we can do for our public safety people though, right? And for
It's
us.
what we
I
can
mean,
do for the
citizens-
community,
For
yeah.
citizens, right?
It's important for public
Think-
safety to be
think
able to
of
get
the
the call
fire-
and respond.
The fire and everybody on different
Yeah.
wavelengths. And one of the things I asked Brian, I think, Salem is on a different system, and I remember we were talking about if something happened in this building, and you had sheriff's department, and you had Salem Fire and Salem Police here. They were, I remember having a tabletop exercise, must have been like 8 years ago or something, and they were all talking, they would be on cell phones because they couldn't talk to each other. Does this help us get closer to their communications? Sounds like these agencies would be able to talk to each other outside, but now we're talking Salem Fire and Salem PD.
Yes, there are benefits to agencies working on the City of Salem's radio system and ours. So the dispatch center at WVCC, the city's 911 center, it's already P25 compliant. We'll be bringing Metcom up, and there'll be interconnects, communication interconnects. So there'll be two different ways the agencies can speak to each other. We will pre-program the system so that there are talk groups. So there'll be different talk groups for different types
radio
of
channels.
types of work, that
Yeah.
sort of thing, right? So SWAT, for instance. SWAT might have participants from several different
Right,
agencies.
we just
all
saw
different-
that yesterday. We had Silverton, Woodburn, Salem, us.
Yeah. So I'm expecting that that they will want to have a talk group so that when they activate that talk group, it communicates with that group
Right.
without delay, right?
Which
So-
actually, Matt, a big, big, huge, whatever word you want, improvement of the current system. Like, this is a big deal.
Yeah,
It's a big
yeah.
deal for, I know that the community, it's difficult to sit
Swallow
here
it,
and just
yeah.
hear kind of what you're saying and understand it all. But the people who work in public safety know what we're doing and are pretty grateful, I think, for it. And what matters to the public that dollars are paying for this is it will help that cross collaboration and
Yes.
mutual aid respond better, cleaner. Yeah, it's a big deal.
yeah, okay. Good. Thank you for your work again.
Jan is going to follow up. Could you get us a list of how the groups are funded exactly, please? That way we just,
Each of these categories.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would, I just really, I want to understand it.
Yeah.
I think they will, I think obviously they do too, so,
Okay.
thank you. All right, I move to approve amendment number 1 to the contract for services with Tate North America to add $12,346,144 in American Rescue Plan Act funds for a new contract total of $12,506,276 to provide design, supply, installation, commissioning, and technical support for the Marion County Public Safety Radio Communication System project through June 30th, 2026.
I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Before we just jump off, I do just want to publicly thank former Representative Kurt Schrader and current State Senator Fred Gerard for their support in this. Their funding is getting us, closer to the gap, and it's helpful, and their efforts are appreciated. Getting any money from Congress is difficult, and I appreciate that Kurt went the extra mile along with his staff at the time, AJ, who now works for us.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had some good, good support from our federal delegation in the last few years.
Agreed.
This is another one of those projects, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we say aye?
Yeah.
Did we vote?
Yep.
Okay, so that's done. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we will recess the Board of Commissioners meeting, and I will open a contract review board under Human Resources. Consider approval of an order denying a protest to the approval of a special procurement to allow Human Resources to directly award a contract for absorbed enterprise learning management. And I believe Toby's on here, but Jeff, you're gonna be Toby today, so welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad you recognize the difference. My name is Jeff White. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Marion County and do have some responsibility over procurement processes. As you are aware, Marion County is in the middle of seeking a new ERP system, an enterprise resource planning system, basically our accounting and human resources applications to take care of all that business here at Marion County. Within that process, we hope to obtain a number of different modules such as payroll and general ledger, and one of those we hope to obtain in that new ERP would be a type of learning management system. We understand that some of those out there that may bid on that system have those applications and some don't. We really don't know for sure until we actually get the proposals back from the current open RFP and once we choose a vendor. In the meantime, the county's learning management system, our training module, the contract has expired, and in early October, HR and procurement came to you to ask for a special procurement process just to keep the same system we have right now until we can reach that spot in next spring when we know where we'll be. The board approved that special procurement, and we were required to notify the world that we were doing that. In that process, we received a protest. That protest said, hey, you should be putting an open and competitive process out there, and I want to be part of it because I can do the same thing. It's our position that we're still standing by great after we know what we're buying in the ERP system, because it's ideal to have all those applications as much as possible be one integrated system versus bolt-ons. We recognize we may need some bolt-on type features in our applications, so our request is this board order before you is to dispose of the protest and deny that under the same conditions we issued the special procurement in the first place. We're going to move forward with the ERP. Thank you for your protest, but we're not prepared to do a request for proposal on that learning management system quite yet. That may happen in the future, or if it becomes part of an ERP, we won't be doing any open and competitive process for that one module. That's the order before you.
Yeah, and the extension on this contract, or the contract that we awarded is for how long? 2 years, is it?
It was up to 2 years.
I think it was a
Yeah.
couple of years to get us
Yeah, up
through
to 2 years.
Yeah,
whatever
okay.
process we needed.
We went back and forth on a
Right.
period of time, and then we settled on up to 2 years because the ERP process is extensive.
Yes.
I'd just like to add that there's plenty of evidence that this board goes out on requests for proposals or open procurement on just about everything. And since I've been a commissioner, we have modified our contracting process to be a 3-year term on a bulk of the work that we do here with options to extend. And that the reason for that is because I believe in the commissioner's support that we want people to have access to the work that we do here in government, and that everybody should get a fair shot at that. And in this particular situation, I believe it's in the best interest of taxpayers to do this short contract extension for this particular education system. Absorb, I think is what it's called.
Yes.
Because going through an RFP, the open procurement, to find another vendor to bring something brand new online for such a temporary transition, which I believe will be likely because of the investment we're making in the ERP system, and it likely being options to plug and play, meaning there'll be other off-the-shelf things and or come along packages with whoever we purchase the system from that will accommodate our needs. It would be a waste of our time and money to go through that other process. And also I think it would hinder the need of the people we employ here who need to be trained actively in all the important tools and protocols of working for Marion County, the government. So I support this, and I hope that the person or the company, when you deny the protest, understands the reasons why. I hope it's a little more involved than thanks but no thanks, we'll get back to you. I think it's warranted. But this makes total sense to me.
Great.
Yeah,
All right, good. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Commissioner.
yeah,
Ready?
yeah.
Okay. So we will take a motion to approve an order tonight.
Do you want to approve it in the contract review board?
Yes.
Okay, then I move to approve an order denying a protest to the approved special procurement to allow Human Resources to directly award a contract for the Absorb Enterprise Learning Management System.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that is done. We will adjourn the Contract Review Board, and we will reconvene the Board of Commissioners meeting.
Thank you.
You know what? This person didn't sign up for public comment, but there's somebody sitting in the audience that maybe would like to come up and introduce herself.
She's,
Tony?
yeah.
Tony?
She's like, what? Mm-hmm.
Well,
Just
just
you
go
sit at the
sit
chair.
right there in that chair and just introduce yourself for the record. And we just want to welcome you officially.
Well, good morning. My name
Let me
is
pull that
Tony.
microphone really close to you. Yeah.
I know. He put you on the spot.
I did.
Sorry.
Good morning. My name is Tony Whitler, and thank you. I am a senior policy analyst, just starting this week.
Yeah, so Tony, I just wanted to welcome you and put you on the spot. Like, yeah, I've been known to do that to many people, but welcome to the team, and you got to see your first board session. You started, yesterday, right? So 2 days on the job, but we're glad to have you in the board's office. And,
Thank
looking
you.
forward.
True
Happy to be
story.
here.
Yeah. You want to share anything?
Well, I could share a lot of things, but I'm just looking forward to working in the county. I've been working with the city, or was working with the city, and I'm looking forward to working within the county communities. So that's just very exciting for me to just step out of Salem and do some work for all the rural communities.
Yeah, we're excited to have you with your experience and your background, so welcome aboard.
Thank
I'm
you.
super thrilled you're here.
Thank you.
She told me I had to have you, right? I mean,
Okay.
we know who the boss is in the
Let-
family.
To be very clear, I didn't say you have to. I just said it would be very beneficial to all of us if you had a policy analyst to help you.
Yeah.
We have a lot of work going on. We're a high caliber board of commissioners. We have a lot of output, and you are necessary to the success of that work.
Well, I just wanted to call you up and welcome aboard. So now you're officially on YouTube, and you can,
Thank
Yep.
you.
send a
She's
copy
like,
to your
"Lovely."
friends. All right, thanks, Tony. All right, anything else?
The only thing I want to add, just quickly, is obviously on Monday it was Veterans Day. There were a lot of community activities around the county that went on, but one in particular stands out to me. I attended an event on Monday night that Alvin Clausen from our board's office is on the board of. It's called Stay Alive Vets, SAV. And they hosted a dinner for veterans and individuals in the community. So if you were a veteran, you were able to come for free, and if you were not, then you had to purchase your dinner, your ticket or table or whatever. And the presentation was a 3-time Blue Angels commanding officer. He came and spoke about the Blue Angels and what they are and why they exist, and spoke about the need for, folks and humanity and life. And it's an organization that invests in activities and opportunities for vets who are navigating the difficulties of just life today, with the goal to reduce veteran suicide. And so I just want people to know about it. It's called Stay Alive Vets. It was founded here in the Salem area, and they're pretty new. I want to say they're only 3 or 4 years old, and folks should support them because it's a population that shouldn't get overlooked and unfortunately faces a lot of challenges in seeking benefits and the appreciation that they deserve. And I want to say thanks to that organization and to Alvin for his efforts in bringing the messaging forward and finding ways to help them feel a part and appreciated, so that way they don't navigate their challenges of whatever they experienced alone.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. Friday, I went to Salem City Club, and Andrew, who's the executive director of the
Holbert, yeah.
YMCA vet home.
Courtney's place.
Yep, he gave a great presentation to Salem City Club, and I had met with him the day before. We meet once a month, try to meet once a month, just to stay in touch and help each other out with what we're working on. And they have far surpassed their goals over
Yeah.
there. And I know AJ is is chairman of the board, I think, for
Right.
that. But just what's happened here locally, and now they're building one of those at the Y in Albany too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's great.
they're working on it down there. So obviously it's full. It took a capacity. We you know, and the good thing about it is it's permanent housing
Right.
and wraparound services, and many of them, that'll be their last home.
Right.
And that was kind of one of those things that struck with me. Like, oh wow, they may have not had a home for a while, but this would be the place that they will.
Yeah,
finish.
in some cases, their first home.
Yeah.
And their last
Yeah.
home.
So it was great. That was a good presentation for the city club. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot
All right.
going on in our community for veterans. Super important work.
Okay. Anything else? If not,
So many things, but I'm good. I'm ready to go to the next
okay.
meeting.
Yeah, at 10:30.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Is it at 10:30?
Yes.
Okay. We will adjourn. I always want to walk out of here